in a previous video I made, someone made a request. Actually, a lot of people made a request of me making a video talking about how Chinese people, Asian people actually treat some black children or some African children, right? And I said I was going to make the video. Yeah, you guessed it right. This is the video. And sometimes, and please don't get me wrong, this video is not about hate or discrimination or whatever, right? This is mainly a very informative video. This is to draw so much light into a lot of things happening around the globe. And if you've been following this channel for a long time, you will realize that we bring things happening around the globe to your phone in your comfort zones, right? We bring it down to your home directly on your phone. Okay, so or your digitals, like this is me letting you know or letting you into the things happening around the globe for real. Because when people made this request at the comment section, right, I always advise you all to drop your thoughts in the comment section, and a lot of people do that, and they made this request, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to talk about this. So a lot of Asians, like I think I talked about it in the previous video about some Asians who made these black dolls and they called it a way of relieving stress. It still hasn't made sense to me, but let's break it down. So Asians have been talking about how Black Americans they are scared of Black Americans, right? And how, you know, they have been, yeah, we all know the story. And now they made a doll, right? That's representing, yeah, it relieves stress. And this doll happens to be black. Yeah, black. And for some reason, that's not racist. Yeah, that's not. But anyway, that's what they said. I didn't say that. Yeah. But anyways, they did that. And we've seen a lot of videos, which I'm going to attach to this one. We've seen a lot of videos where a lot of Asians, a lot of Chinese people have put together. It's become like a full-blown business where they bring black children and they make them say things, and to the children or to the black people, they feel like to these African children, they think it's like a term, a greeting term, you know, a way of greeting, but it's actually them saying really, yeah, things about themselves. Yeah. That's what they did. But I'm going to let you watch the video so you actually understand what's happening here. Please, this video is genuinely for information purposes, okay? Let's watch it and we come back with more commentaries. Stay here because just what?
There's like a whole industry popping up in China where they have little African children say Chinese phrases, and they're like dressed in their village garb or whatever, and they record them saying Chinese phrases as like greetings for each other. But the phrases are like degrading things, like,
yeah, you're a monster.
Yeah, I'm a monster. I have low IQ.
我是黑鬼，自杀的，yeah.
And then these videos get sold and passed around in China. And, they were interviewing the villagers and the little kids that he uses, cause he pays them like $50 a week to make these videos, and they make them all day long. They were saying that like if they don't cooperate, he beats them, things like that. Easy stuff.
He did an interview with the other Chinese guy. He's like, oh yeah, you gotta treat them like monsters.
Yeah.
不要可怜他们，这是最主要。你把这句话放在心里，对待黑人，行了。
But America is racist. Would you look at that? But America is racist.
I'm obviously not in Africa. I'm obviously not African.
That's 1 week. The next chance, you don't have a right to say no. This is not chance. Give Kingsley. If we can't do that, we'll ask another person to replace him.
But what I hate to see is Chinese, Arab, any others going over there to Africa and treating my brothers and sisters like crap. I'm not cool with that at all, okay? Right now, China is literally buying up Africa, okay? And these people are going over there treating Africans like absolute dog shit, okay? I mean, they talk to them like crap, treat them like absolute crap. And what boggles my mind is the Africans who get in my comments and try to protect these people, all because they are bringing upward mobility to Africa by the way of a fucking job, okay? Even though that Chinaman is paying these people absolute crumbs, talking to them like they're fucking nothing, treating them like slaves. We've all seen the videos, right? We've all seen them. Men, women. I've seen videos of Chinese men punching African women. What the fuck are you Africans gonna do about that? Y'all niggas are so hungry that you won't even protect yourselves or your women, bruh. A Chinaman coming over to your country and you just bowing down to him because you so in need. Bruh, that shit hurt my soul as a Black American, I promise you. Because we would never fucking do that. Never. We would fight before we would bow the knee to a foreigner coming over here doing us like that. And when they do. They come over here and they try it. And then they get that understanding real quick. The whole world knows what Black Americans do. So I don't need to sit here and, oh, yeah, we do this, we not. Y'all know. I want the Africans to start to stand up, man. Stand up on your own land. You there, bruh. Take control of that shit. Don't ever let a foreigner come over there and disrespect you.
The Chinese are kidnapping Africans and forcing them to work. The Chinese kidnapped 91 Africans, put them in a shipping container, shipped them to South Africa, and forced them to work in a cotton fabric factory. This factory was surrounded by barbed wire, high fences, and they had armed guards outside of this factory. They dared them to leave. Like, once y'all here for good. They work 7 days a week, 11 hours a shift. And some of these were kids from 14 to 16-year-olds. Out of these 91 Africans, 37 of them was kids. And this is who Africans called their savior, China. Last year, they was like the Chinese is going to save Africa. They putting y'all in shipment containers and forcing y'all to work. That don't look like a savior to me. And peep this out, y'all. They didn't even give them safety equipment. They had them out there working defective machinery, injuries left and right. One African ended up escaping. That's how they were able to discover this. But this was going on from 2017 to 2019. They had these Africans in a cotton fabric factory working 11-hour shifts for 7 days a week.
Chinese people are so entertained by anti-black racism that they were paying for videos of children in Malawi to say derogatory comments about themselves and their race. And it went so far that this man was arrested for basically trafficking and exploitation. When I said stop taking pictures with random Chinese people who come up to you for pictures abroad, this is one of the reasons why. They know exactly what black people look like. They don't think too kindly of us. And that is literally colonizing Africa to this day. In Congo, the majority of the mines that child slaves are working on are owned by Chinese mining companies. In Sierra Leone, Chinese mining companies are polluting the water. There's a number of reasons why they're getting away with using the same old playbook. Number one, proxy wars. This is where countries that are rich, like the UAE, UK, America, will fund armed groups in certain countries to cause civil instability. These groups will get a big paycheck, essentially, to go wreak havoc. And then, while everyone is literally distracted with fighting for their lives and trying to stay alive, the countries abroad can come in and take the natural resources for free. B, assassination of good leaders. Every time there's a good leader, they literally disappear in mysterious circumstances, and then we get a corrupt person who's propped up by the West in charge of a country with loads of natural resources. And C, a lack of education. The vast majority of people across Africa are not taught about colonization. Like, we sit here and talk about it like, oh, we know, so they must know. No, it is deliberately not taught so that they can keep the chain going.
After 6 years in court, 7 Chinese nationals have been found guilty on 158 counts, including human trafficking and violating labor laws. The group ran a sweatshop called Beautiful City at Village Deep in the Joburg CBD, where they exploited foreign workers. Many of these workers were from Malawi, and they included 37 children. Workers were locked inside the factory, forced to work 11-hour shifts 7 days a week, and paid 440 rand a week. Some were even injured while working in the factory. If that wasn't bad enough, they could not leave. They were threatened with weapons and even had their salaries deducted for not working on weekends or coming back from lunch late. A store inside the factory overcharged them, so it was nearly impossible to survive. I am a journalist from South Africa, currently living in South Korea, and I bring you news from South Africa and all over the world. Law enforcement raided the factory and found 91 illegal Malawians working there. This ruling sends a strong message that human trafficking and labor exploitation will not be tolerated in South Africa. 6 of the guilty parties are still in custody and 1 is on medical bail. They will be sentenced in early March. What are your thoughts on all of this? Do you think many other illegal immigrants are being exploited in this way in factories around the country? Also, have you ever worked at one of these factories, or do you know someone who's worked there? Let me know in the comments section.
People in China have posted videos of themselves physically abusing black dolls. Like it's normal behavior, and they're just like, oh, this is what I do after a stressful day at work. Are you out of your mind? What have black people ever done to you? Have you ever met one? Have you ever met one and not acted like a complete weirdo around them? Have you actually ever had a black friend? Probably not. But today I wanted to talk about where a lot of the anti-blackness in Chinese culture comes from, specifically Chinese. First, there's our language. The way we talk about the sun and going out in the sun. 你不要晒黑 is something that every Chinese kid has heard from their parents. It literally means do not turn black. Colloquially, it means do not get tan, but verbatim, word for word, it means do not turn black. Oh yeah, and if you get too tan, your parents will say that you look like a black person as an insult. I don't want to hear any of you saying this to your kids. If you hear any of your friends saying it to their kids, say something about it. If your parents say it to you, say something about it. We can talk about protecting our skin from harmful UVA and UVB rays without resorting to racism. Not wanting to get skin cancer is race neutral, is not colorist, but saying you got so dark you look like a black person, that's really weird. And every Chinese person has heard it at least once. Chinese people as a collective have also learned anti-blackness from their colonizers, from our mutual hater. They think that shitting on black people will somehow make them whiter. I hear Chinese people in China and in the US just parroting the most harmful stereotypes that white people had just made up about black people. When white people aren't even saying those things anymore, they have learned neoliberalism. They have learned to say, I don't see color. They've learned to hide their racism at least a little better. And then Chinese people are out here doing the work for white people. Thought we were done with the century of humiliation. What are you guys doing? And this is hurting actual Chinese and black people inside our community. There are black and Chinese mixed people who y'all don't even consider Chinese because they have African ancestry. So it's causing us to cannibalize our own. I know I spend a lot of my time on this app shitting on K-pop groups for being racist, but Chinese people have no excuse this time. You shaguas better get online and start apologizing. Or else 我去中国找你.
I've been saying this shit for years, but as Asian Americans, anti-blackness is fucking holding us back. I remember 6 years ago, a then Yale student, Eileen Huang, published an op-ed in which she explicitly called out our community's refusal to speak out against the systemic injustices that black Americans have been facing in this country for centuries. And this op-ed went viral in the WeChat parent groups. Not for a damn good reason though, because the responses overwhelmingly were along the lines of, oh, your parents sacrificed so much, how could you say this against your own people? Basically framing the author as a traitor against their own community for speaking out against a very valid problem. Now keep in mind, these people are professionals, PhDs, people who have been experts in their fields for decades, yet at the same time, not being able to hold two truths at once and immediately getting defensive. You can speak out against the anti-Asian racism and violence that people have faced in our community for centuries, while also recognizing that the Asian American identity is built upon being settlers in this country, a country that's fundamentally built upon the theft of indigenous land and the exploitation of black and brown bodies and labors since its foundation. You can be part of a community, love it, and be proud of your heritage, while also being able to criticize its flaws and wanting it to change for the better. Because being a full member of a community is not blindly defending it. That's tribalism. Being part of a community is being able to recognize and speak out against its flaws so that it can become a better community built upon love. We spend so much fucking time debating Asian meetups or the definition of ABGs, but when it comes to the shit that actually matters in today's world, mass surveillance, police brutality, genocide, deportation that ultimately affects us as well, we are fucking nowhere to be seen. We have not shown up. Consistently, we have not shown up. And honestly, even we've made shit worse at times by continuing to peddle these stereotypes and continuing to buy into the model minority myth. We have so many people in this digital world with influence and with a platform, and yet we have no collective sense on how to effectively combat anti-blackness in our community. That's fucking absurd. Because the more we talk about, oh, it's us versus them, it's red versus blue, that's where the people in power want us to be. And they have us exactly where they fucking want us to be. Because the more we talk about this shit, the further we get from recognizing that it's actually top versus bottom, from actually building class consciousness, let alone class solidarity, which is what we desperately need right now.
Like I've listened. Yeah, I've seen that. And I'm sure you saw it too. But I don't understand how people can do that to other people. Like in the 21st century, things like that are still happening. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't understand it. I don't. I've tried to understand it. I've tried to, see if there is a silver lining somewhere, but I don't see it. I don't see why somebody can do that to somebody else, why somebody can use somebody else in that way. I don't see why. I don't see, this is disturbing. It is. It's so disturbing to know that somebody can think of doing that. Like, even the method of it, I don't get it. I don't even get how somebody can actually think of doing that to a fellow human being, sort of, not to even think of actually going into the thought or even putting it into action. Like, it's one thing to think, it's another thing to put what you thought into action, right? There's content, there's intent, right? And then there's the action of it. And that is so disturbing. So very disturbing. But as always, people are going to act like it didn't happen. We are going to forget about that. We are going to move past it. But there's no moving past that. How can you have such labor for people in such a condition with so much little pay? And if you listen to some of the videos, you realize that even in such little pay, in that environment where they get lunch, they are also overpriced. Meaning that it's more like you give them this pay and they give it back. Because technically, it's overpriced. In such condition, you get such, you put people into such labor, and oh my God, how did we get there? But we're going to move past that, right? People are going to see it as nothing. People are going to act like it's nothing. Yeah. But anyways, let me know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Do not forget, alright, these clips are attached to this video remain to the original creators of these clips. Let me know what you think, because I can't imagine. Oh my God, no, just let me know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, because oh my God, nah.